breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day. So why do people skip it? It frustrates me. It angers me. When I was a child, my father said to me, if you don't eat your cereal in the morning, an evil sea captain will rise up from the ocean and swallow me in a spoonful of berries and flakes. I always believed him. He seemed so sure. Until I was 9. I missed one meal, just one. He lost his temper. I hid under the table. I heard smashing and crashing and then the shattering of glass, and my mother say, "It's okay, it was only one meal." There was a final thud, and then the blood. My mother was laying on the floor staring up at me, hiding under the table. But it was a different stare. Her eyes were locked on me. She was still. A pool of blood formed around my fingertips, and from behind, my father grabbed my legs and dragged me from beneath. He died 3 years later, choked on a spoonful of fruity pebbles. Kind of ironic, don't you think? Poor bastard. But I did not grieve. I got even. And I am now tabloid dubbed Killer Crunch. That's with a K. It was a typical Miami morning, and I awoke to the similar sound of seagulls squawking and waves crashing. I sat up from my bed, stretched, and yawned. Another day, another kill. I pulled a small piece of paper from my dresser and looked at it. It was worn and torn at the edges. It was a list of names. The top 5 were crossed out, and there was 3 more names below it. James King, Chloe Davis, and Lucy Smith. I tucked the piece of paper back into my dresser and stood up from my bed. A knock came from my front door. Who could that be? I looked at the glass panel on my door, and apart from the morning sun blinding me, there was nobody there. I opened the door and peered out onto my porch. There was a newspaper, the Miami Herald. But it was not today's paper. It was a paper from 7 years ago. And on the front page, loved mother beaten to death. And below there was a photo of my mother smiling. All the memories came flooding back, and in one single tear that gently slipped and sparkled in the sunlight down my cheek, I took a step back and bumped into an object behind me. But there was nothing behind me. And then in slow motion the world faded from my grasp, and I fell backwards. I regained consciousness in a room of plastic, like the inside of a giant squared bubble. I was bound to the table and I could not move. There was a man, much taller than me. His hair unbrushed and a white stubble grew on his face. He wore an apron and beneath it a long-sleeved green top. My eyes were fixed on him and his on mine. He walked closer and he cut my cheek with a blade. Up until now we had not exchanged a single word. I said, "Who are you?" He replied, "I'm the man that's going to make your life go snap, crackle, and pop." I take out my Ellie's trash. "Garbage pickup isn't till Tuesday," I said sarcastically. He put his finger on my forehead. "Now is not the time to be clever." "I do not fear death. It happens to all of us in the end." The man looked at me. "You may not fear death, but you should be afraid of me." He lifted a woodcutter's axe from the floor and grinned at me. "You'll need this." He stuffed an old rag into my mouth. Is he going to torture me? Anxiety kicked in. He held the axe with both hands, grasped tightly above his forehead.